Yeah, this is what's today's date now? Shit, I don't remember. But I promised you that I was going to go live and to give you my thoughts on the budget that the Prime Minister gave on the 15th of December. So today must be the 17th. There's nothing hopeful in that budget for the people of Antigua and Barbuda if you're poor, you're black, and you're uneducated. That budget went on too long because the Prime Minister had to sell these new taxes by saying what a great job his administration has done for almost the last 9.5 years. But what I will tell you now today, and I'm not going to even stay too long, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't even listen to the whole thing. After 40 minutes, I couldn't stomach hearing that man's voice because he sounds like such a damn sissy. And he's sissy in part because he was groomed by Boboy. He's indoctrinated. He has the fine arts. He's skilled. But that is a product of Boboy. And so said, the man just kept on sissifying himself on that damn budget speech till I couldn't stand hearing another word coming out of his mouth. I will say this to the Antigua and Barbuda people, that I thought that Antiguans and Barbudans were an exceptional people. And for the last 10 years, and even so after 2018 really, because everybody can make mistakes, exceptional or not, but just the way the electorate has conducted themselves and allowed themselves to be swayed and manipulated and used by Gaston Brown and the ABLP, whatever, I came to the conclusion, just in the last 6 to 10 months, that we are not an exceptional people. What we had was an exceptional leader in the form of Vere Bird Sr. But after that, whatever his achievements were on behalf of the people of Antigua and Barbuda, sadly enough to say that we did not continue fighting to maintain those freedoms and those owning property and having Antigua being one of the fastest growing economies at the time. And that is the sad circumstances that we have here in this country of ours, where a budget was given. And the people need to be aware of this, that that budget was given on the 15th of December, on a Friday, when you know the majority of the media houses weren't going to have a follow-up on Saturday to discuss the budget, or who's really going to even listen to all the ins and outs of a budget, all the percentages and the money is given on a weekend, 10 days before Christmas. Everybody trying to have family members coming to Antigua, children want their toys, you have to wrap them, carry them a window shop and look on Amazon and buy all their toys and make sure that everybody have all the food, carrying all your sauce and your vinadalos and your black cake. And that is when he comes now to say he's done wonderful things in Antigua and Barbuda. So wonderful for the people of Antigua and Barbuda that, hey, guess what? You'll have a new tax coming your way. So just let me know if you all are hearing me clearly, because there's a new device. Not all the bells and whistles that I have on Who's on the Go My podcast, but just bear with me. I think the message over the technology. Now, one of the first things I'm going to do, and it's very close to my heart, it's almost worthy of crying to what is happening in Antigua. I look at sheet here. I didn't waste your time. I didn't get taking 50 minutes to talk about this budget. It ain't even worth 10. Agriculture. Why is it that only 8% of the budget is geared towards agriculture? It didn't even say 8% for agriculture alone. That is tied in with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, agriculture, and something else are getting 8% of the budget. And I need people to realize that our agriculture project they're talking about, it's booming, but I don't see it. One of the main things that we have in even our national flag, not our national flag, our coat of arms, the pineapple. There's no government production of the black pineapple, which we said is the sweetest and the best pineapple in the world. Government fails to produce that anymore. If you go on to the south, you see the farrow fields. There's no more black pineapple produced by the government of Antigua and Barbuda. There's one person, Mr. Grant, a man originally from Canada, white man, and he's lived in Antigua for over 30 years now. And that is the last farm that does heavy productions of the black pineapple. And I like people to know, not to get off of the budget speech, but just to know when they're talking about how the agriculture industry has grown, that Mr. Grant, after farming black pineapple in Antigua for over 25 years, his lease has been up for over 7 months now. And even last year, he called the Ministry of Agriculture, Samantha Marshall, who was the Minister of Agriculture then, to ask her what can he do to renew his lease for the lands at Claremont Farm. They have not been renewed. But I guarantee you this, that is by design, because Mr. Grant, who has the large last holding of harvesting black pineapple in Antigua and Barbuda, cannot get a lease. And so said, so done, I guarantee you, you're going to hear that his lease will not be renewed. And some member of the Prime Minister's cronies or his stupid-looking family is going to end up with that lease for about 50 years, 49 years, to Claremont Farms. Mr. Grant spoke to the Prime Minister because he went on his radio and he told the people of Antigua and Barbuda, Antigua had no more black pineapple. And Mr. Grant went and delivered a bag of black pineapple to his minister, to the Prime Minister's office. He even called him and he said, yes, man, I taste it. Very good product and I'm coming out to see you. That was over a year and a half ago. So when they're talking about they have interest in the agriculture product of Antigua and Barbuda, it's just bullshit. It's bullshit. And let me give you even more examples. So that is what happened, the hardship Mr. Grant is facing in the South. What about the North? Because I live with Papa Bird at Friesel Estate. And when you go up north, going up the hill, you had Dunbar's, just before Dunbar's, on the left-hand side of the road and the right-hand side of the road, like when you go into Cedar Valley. Those were cotton fields. And if you're really interested in producing agriculture, one of the best things that you can grow is Sea Island cotton. It's worth more than any other thing that you could put into the ground in Antigua and make a profit. And those were cotton fields. And if you go up there right now for the last 2 weeks or even more, they have been clearing down those fields. Apparently, they're surveying it. They're going to put houses on those fields. You understand? Where they could, that land in total, it can't be more than 50, 60 acres of land up there. But if you're really interested as a government to grow some agricultural product and to diversify your economy away from tourism, wouldn't you try to get into Sea Island cotton? There's all these technological wonders and mechanisms and machines, and you have computerized ways to harvest the cotton and to whatever, to purify it and clean from all little shells or so, or whatever on it. That has not been looked into. But they're going to put houses right there. And it's a sad situation because I remember as a little boy, Friesel, back in the early to mid 70s, you go up there and you know on the western side of Friesel Estate was a man by the name of Cecil, and he was into agriculture, that's livestock. And on the western side, they had a man by the name of Rupert, and people were growing stuff to feed their families and to sell in the market. And I remember even back in the 70s, potatoes were expensive. We couldn't afford them in the supermarket at market. And I used to walk up with my mom and Daisy Samuel from Seaview Farm. And we walked up from Friesel and cut right there by Cedar Valley and go to a cousin of mine from New Winthrop's named Ayanta, just below the pond on the right-hand side of the road. And we get potatoes straight out of the ground. There's nothing like that in that area anymore. I'm 52 years old, and all of that is a thing of the past. You just see more houses being developed and more housing developments. They haven't even told the Antigua and Barbuda people that those ancient cotton fields, which produce some of the finest cotton the world over, have been taken up, scrapped. They just ripped up the whole agricultural product there. And that is a shame. And that's a lie about the agriculture. Now, I'm not going to stay too long on everything. I've already gone 9 minutes, right? So that is one. Those are two things to mention. Another thing the Prime Minister mentions is about buses, that they subsidize the transport, mass transport in buses and taxis to the tune of $7 million in the last 7 months or something like that. Why is that? Aren't we supposed to be going green? Aren't you supposed to have these buses that when these buses, bus drivers, buses are no longer serviceable or they can't make a profit from them or no longer work so that they can put it on the roads to make a living? Shouldn't they be going to electronic taxis and buses? But the problem we have here, that would be a great alternative to what is there now. But it all goes back to when you start lying to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, we cannot do this green technology with buses and taxis because we don't have enough electricity generators that can produce taxi gas electricity for our homes, and much less to go and power mass transit. Because I do remember with the Wadadley power plant, 2011 they were commissioned, they went online with the UPP. And we were promised these wonders that these things are going to make the electricity more affordable. It never happened. The generators don't work. Not even in a generation and a half, those things are supposed to last for 50 years. They didn't even properly last for 5. Then there's a whole issue about you didn't know, the Prime Minister Gaston said he didn't know if the generators were old and new in opposition. And they came into office on the 2014 and he told the people of Antigua and Barbuda that he was going to do an investigation to find out if the generators are old or new. What do we have now? June of 2024 will make 10 years of this administration. We don't know if the investigation has begun. We don't know the terms of reference of the investigation. Whether the investigation will be conducted in only Antigua or the investigators will be traveling to Germany or China to find out exactly where things fell apart for Antigua and Barbuda. And it's such cynicism, such lies by the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda that at the end of the day, we don't even know who nearly 10 years after this was promised to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, we don't even know who the investigators of this scandal, this wasting of taxpayers' money. So the whole idea of this $7 million we are subsidizing for mass transit taxis and buses, that will continue. And most likely it will get higher because the prices of gas most likely in the world right now are going to go up with war in the Middle East, with what's happening in Ukraine and what possibly could even happen down closer to us in Venezuela and Guyana. The Prime Minister, to me, he had to sell a lie to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. And I don't think there's anybody or any person in the world or a group of people that like to be lied to as the people of Antigua. I wouldn't even say Barbuda, because they know when they see a rat, a scoundrel, and they wise up to him. But the Antigua and Barbuda people tell them how wonderful they're doing. And even if it's a lie, it will warm their hearts at night when they go to bed. Their stomach, they'll be bawling out for hunger. But they are very hopeful people. They're always looking for tomorrow. It's going to be a better day. It's 10 years now this man is in power and talking about economic powerhouse. How Antigua is doing so well in that budget. That budget speed went on far longer than it needed to go because all what he was saying is just rubbish. But he had to sell the lie. And I believe I hear all them clapping in the background. Listen, I'm supposed to be educated man with 2 degrees in the profession. And the numbers he talking, they over my head because I couldn't even catch up with all the nonsense coming out of that man's mouth. It's just as soon as he finished one statistic before he can sit down and say, okay, 1 + 1 I got 2. He gone on to another one. But the people were clapping like if they knew what he was saying. And I saw it going on for about 40 minutes. And boy, me can't hold on by that. Me can't take on that. Everybody out there in a brat with Pumpkin Squad, I hope you all doing well, you know. Yeah, this is just a little brief review of what I heard on Friday. And I couldn't stomach it. I was supposed to even go live on Saturday, but I had to go drink some Eno and just to calm down my stomach. You know, I had to calm my stomach down because this stuff make you want to vomit. The whole damn budget. Yeah, so what I also want to mention, the Prime Minister talking about all these projects, all these great projects that his government has initiated and have started and moved forward. And he always comes every year, this budget, talking about all these big projects. And last year, this 100 million, 200, 500 million, $500 million, 1 billion, all these numbers that are spitting out this man's smelly mouth. But he never came back and told us. After he told us about the YIDA project, which was supposed to put $200 billion US dollars into our treasury every year for 10 years, Mr. Brown could not tell us what has happened to the project. The projects, the special economic zone on Guana Island. After man done rip up the land left, right, and center, get every concession that is known to man. Yeah, and thinking about you people now, lands have gone on Guana Island and on the peninsula, looking over at Guana Island. Everybody have land. Yeah, and thinking about you people dispossessed, and they don't even have any jobs. Maybe they got jobs to clear the land. Maybe they got jobs to ferry people back and forth and taxi a bus to see the lands they're buying. But as in work, careers, to sustain your families, not a shit. The Prime Minister never went to tell us about the Western Imperial Special Economic Zone on the western side of Antigua. And he was going after the horses and them land, and just for the betterment of the society, we have to compulsory take away lands and so on. What happened to that? You touted it last two budget speeches. But you didn't mention it so much the last one, because you already get the man, the Indian man or whoever was doing it, he probably so far that he got all the concessions more than he even expected. He never thought there was a government as dumb as the Gaston Brown administration. So he thought when he heard that everything you wanted is granted. Here, we even threw in a little extra they didn't ask for. When the man heard about that, he just fought and run. He thought he came here as a damn fraud and think he's going to meet some resistance, make like a $500,000 here and there, foolish black people. But when he heard the government welcome it as a special economic zone that was going to be driving our economy for the next 50 years. But the man fought and he cleared out. And I listen to the man again. Talk about that, Prime Minister, when you're talking about your great projects and the great vision that you have for Antigua and Barbuda. That's what me want to hear about. Tell me what you promised us and what has happened to those projects. What about the state of the hospital and the cancer center? Because one thing I do know, there's a problem with those air conditioners at the hospital. There's a problem with the air conditioning at the airport. We traveled just on Saturday last, and on the 9th, right? And the air conditioner at the airport, it's blowing. You know that the air conditioner is costing money because it's blowing wind. It is costing taxpayers to pay for that electricity. But in the other ass, it's humid. Not hot in the sense you have to take off your clothes. But hot where you have to open up your shirt and so on, button down, and and things love to dress up when they travel and so on, like a Sunday best. You can't do that when you go to the Vere Bird International Airport because in there hot. And what I know is that Chinese who built the airport, and this is what my clients and so have told me, and people who have worked on that air conditioning. The Chinese who built the airport, they are accustomed to specs for air conditionings that are from China or Asia. But to ship it all the way from Asia, they didn't bother with that. They got air conditioning with American specs from America, North America. They installed those air conditioning units up at the Sir Lester Bird Hospital, and then they installed it at the Vere Bird Airport. What has happened is that they don't know how to install it according to American specs. And in addition to that, to maintain it now, some government minister's family get the contracts for airport and maybe even the hospital. Don't know they are from the Elmo. So they got a client of mine, I'm going to call his name. And he would go up there willingly, think it's a national service, go up and service the air conditioning units. But my client, one of my first clients when I came home to Antigua, is originally from Canada. He's blinded in one eye. He has a severe case of cataracts. So over the last 2 years, he's not been in Antigua. He's been living in Miami. And he told me, Vere, by the time I leave from here, that hospital and that airport will not get any servicing because they don't know. People who know about those hospitals are people who are trained and have degrees on certificates on how to service those air conditioners. We don't have it in Antigua. I had a partner that was up in the hospital just May of this year. I get one of them I had to get one of the little ear portable conditioner. You throw the ice in the back, you know, understand? So you can blow some wind on her in the hospital ward because up there so hot. Sick people sweating. It can't be healthy for them. But Antiguans like to be lied to because we're not an exceptional people. We look at the house and say, "Ooh, what a large building. It looks like a hotel. It looks like a palace." The Antiguans are pleased with that. But behind those four walls is hell. Hell. People deserve better treatment than that. I don't see any administration really solving the problem with our medical care or improving upon it. I think a lot of the times what we do in Antigua and Barbuda is we throw good money after something and think money alone can solve it. If you have very corrupt men and women who are spending that money on your behalf, 9 times out of 10, you will have a failed project because they're just a bunch of crooks and thieves. And that is what has happened here in Antigua and Barbuda. That is what the budget is all about. The Antigua and Barbuda people, you have lied down in the bed with ABLP for almost 10 years, and now you're going to have to lie down a little longer because you're going to be paying some taxes, or we're going to be paying some taxes next year that I don't think you realized how much that's going to affect your lifestyle or your way of doing business. My recommendation at this point in time is to hold the government accountable. Stop acting like you don't know what is. Stop acting ignorant. And even if you have a job with the government, you could do better on the day of elections and vote your conscience. But for some reason, somebody give you $500 or smile or grin at you. And just the mere stupidity of a lot of the electorate just want to be on the winning side. They decide to have the biggest motorcade, the biggest flag, the biggest amount of T-shirts, paraphernalia out there. And you base your voting on the sheer stupidity. And that is why we find ourselves in this mess, Antigua and Barbuda. We cannot have mass transit operating on electricity because our electricity crisis, after spending how much, $1 million on the Wadadley power plant, can't cope. The Prime Minister, who said he was going to do something about it, he didn't know if the generator was old or new, fails to have done any investigation on whether it was old or new, and will not do any investigation whether it's old or new. Mr. Grant, who has the last black pineapple farm in Antigua that mass produces, harvest black pineapple, and even I've been out there and I've even seen tourists come for tours of the farm, Claremont Farm. And the Prime Minister knows this farm exists. Samantha Marshall, Mr. Grant has been calling Samantha Marshall for the last year. She last time when she was a minister, "Oh yes, we're going to get to your lease. You're going to get to your lease." Mr. Grant cannot get investors to invest in the farm to grow his yield because he doesn't know if he has the farm from here on out. I think it's about 4 or 5 months now the lease has been up. So the man is just sitting there in limbo, waiting to hear what he did. You know, like when a cat catches a bird, he doesn't really want the food, and he probably doesn't get cat food already. He just wants to toy with it and play with it and frustrate the man. But I guarantee you this, someone, a Gaston Brown crony or some member of his stupid-looking family is going to have the lease to Claremont Farm. That is where I'm leaving it on the review of the budget for now. If I feel like I put in some and I can stomach getting back and do a live further on the nonsense that I heard on Friday, I will do so. But I got to see if the will hold up so that I can do a little 15-20 minute again. Y'all take good care, Antigua and Barbuda. Thanks for listening to me, and Merry Christmas. Bye for now.